I threatened to unalive myself after my emotional support cat passed away, so my mother Baker acted me. Believe me when I say that my cat meant more to me than the air I breathe. I found Molly as a kitten in the parking lot of Walmart. She was a lively little baby, literally like my human child. We were attached at the hip, would cuddle 24/7, and loved being in each other's company. She always managed to make me laugh and I never found myself to be sad when she was around. One time, I was laying in bed crying because of my mental illness. Molly came up to me and laid directly next to my face and nuzzled me. Her cream-colored fur soaked up my tears. Instantly, I felt euphoric. Her comfort was always so nice. It's almost as if the universe graced me with her existence because it knew how much I needed her. I suffer from severe depression and anxiety and I never knew having a companion would help so much. I eventually registered her as an ESA so she could live with me wherever I moved. We were basically inseparable. My mother, on the other hand, was an avid cat hater. She always claimed how mean cats are and they would rather be loved by you instead of loving you. Coming from a woman who has only had dogs her whole life, I found her claims to be unfair. When I told her how much Molly meant to me, she shrugged it off. "It's just another thing for you to stress about," she said. "You don't have the energy to be taking care of a cat." None of it was true. She never seems to understand even though I've consistently told her otherwise. When I broke the news to her that I registered Molly as an ESA, she told me that it's not what I needed. She said that I don't need emotional support and that my mental illnesses are just feelings everyone goes through on a daily basis. She says this despite the fact that I was diagnosed by a shrink who told me I needed help. Somehow she always manages to invalidate everything I stand for, feel, or do, and it was getting very tiring. So, I decided to distance myself from her. About a couple years after I registered Molly as an ESA, she started acting very ill. She lost her desire to eat and drink, would throw up constantly, and most days could barely move. Concerned, I took her to the vet to find out what was going on. They found nothing. Absolutely nothing. After countless scans and tests, Molly was fine. They told me she might have a little cold or ate something she wasn't supposed to, resulting in her lethargy and nausea. They told me to monitor her and come back if she got worse. So, I took their word as truth and took Molly home that night. The next morning I realized that I wasn't awoken by Molly wanting to be fed promptly at 6. Rather, I woke up to the lack of her presence. Instantly I knew something was wrong. I went into the living room calling her name and found her lying on the couch. She looked lifeless. I was in denial about what I could be seeing. I went up to her and started petting her. "Molly?" I said while stroking her, getting more and more frantic the longer she took to respond. It seemed as though she had a stroke or something of the sort. I stopped trying to search for signs of life when I confirmed that she was truly gone. I lost it. I instantly broke down sobbing over her lifeless body. I was hyperventilating, tears and snot all over my face. I had to talk to someone and tell them what had happened, so I decided to call my mom. When she picked up the phone she could hear my sobbing from the other line. She asked me what was wrong and it took me a very long time to even tell her. "What's wrong? Are you hurt?" she asked repeatedly. Finally I found a gap between my hyperventilation and told her that I had lost Molly. "You lost her? What do you mean? Did she run away?" she asked. "No mom, no. She's dead." I screamed over the phone. I told her how I took her to the vet yesterday for being sick. My mother was being very sympathetic towards the situation. She knew Molly meant a lot to me regardless of how she felt. "I can't deal with this. I can't. I'm gonna unalive myself." My words hit her like daggers. "No, we don't talk like that. Stop it," she said. I am. I just want to be with Molly. I am." I screamed back, hysterical and heartbroken. Then, against my better judgment, I hung up the phone and left my mother hanging with my threat. For the next half hour, I sobbed and stroked Molly. I didn't want to move, to think, or feel, or breathe. Before I knew it, there was a knock on my door. It was the police, an ambulance, and my mom. They came inside, peeled me off Molly, and took me outside. My mom called 911 after I hung up and told them about my struggles with mental health, my diagnosis from my shrink, and how I threatened to unalive myself because my ESA cat passed away. All of which seemed like a good enough reason to Baker act me, I guess. So, here I am. My mom had Molly cremated and gave me the ashes while in the psychiatric hospital. She had them put in an urn shaped like a cat. The ceramic collar read Molly. "I don't want it. My best friend is dead. I feel like crap, and I'm in a mental hospital. I just wanted to be left alone for good."